Sometimes parents will say that distance and tension characterize my relationship with my young person or my child. That's because this child's challenging, has a lot of things that need to be learned, and we need to change the trajectory of this child's life, and that's not easy. But if we find ourselves in this place where we have continual tension, there's definitely a tool that we can put in place here that will be helpful, and we actually learn it from the way God works with us. It has to do with relationship. I start off parents and I say, look, let's start by trying to relieve some of that tension by finding something that you have in common with that child, or emotionally connecting with that child somehow, maybe by playing a game or telling a joke or just listening to the child or wrestling or whatever it might be. You're connecting with that child. And then after you're done, you make a statement that says, we and together in the same sentence. This is celebrating it. We sure get a lot of things done when we work together, don't we? Or we love to laugh together. Those kind of comments that we make help a child realize that we're not necessarily on opposite sides. There's more closeness than we imagine. It's this idea of relationship that's so strategic when bringing about change. I'm sure that's why God starts there with us. He starts with relationship and wants us to have this relationship with him. As he's bringing about change in our hearts, he uses relationship. And relationship softens the heart of the person we're trying to relate to. So we want to emphasize relationship. It's foundational to all we do. And if the relationship is strained, children are going to be reacting more negatively. They're going to be upset more. They're not going to treat us with the respect that we need. So by coming in and trying to work on the relationship very specifically, we can help a child to grow in a very powerful way. One mom working with her 12-year-old adopted daughter told me this story. She said, I talked to her in the evening about the book we were reading. I said, we sure enjoy read aloud together, don't we? And this was something they did in their homeschool. And they laughed about it. And they talked about what was next with this character and so on. And then what happened the next day when mom started to read aloud, she couldn't believe it. But her daughter put her head down on mom's lap. She says she's never done that before. There was this connection that took place when relationship was emphasized. Relationship is so powerful. It helps us deal with even the most difficult things we experience. And so we want to heighten that relationship and make sure the relationship is strong, because kids are going to need other things that are going to tax the relationship, such as firmness. Firmness is a very important tool that builds character, but it's hard to do firmness if we don't have the relationship that we need. I really like the scriptures in 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 8, where God says this, above all, love each other deeply because love covers over a multitude of sins. That's such a great verse for the family, isn't it? That, yes, there's a lot of sins. There's a lot of challenges that children face. There's a lot of problems that they get into and ways they need to be corrected. And it strains the relationship that we have. So when we see that taking place, we want to go overboard on the relational side of things. Maybe it's just to pull that child aside and say, I love you. Or maybe it's to take them out for coffee. It doesn't always have to be an event that we take them to. Sometimes it's just around the house that we're saying to them, hey, why don't we work on this together? Or why don't we play this game together? Whatever it might be. Sometimes it's just sitting and listening or snuggling on the couch watching a movie. I don't know. It could be all kinds of things that we connect with. But in the midst of that, we want to make this comment, this we and together comment, that helps a child see that we're on the same page, that we're not so distant to each other, but there's some common ground that we have. There's control that we can enjoy together in this relationship that helps us deal with any of the challenges that we face, because our relationship is so important. It's so valuable because it's through relationship that we're able to pass values and convictions onto our children. We need to realize that, because if we don't have the relationship, it's hard to pass the values and convictions. But we have the relationship, then it's much easier to pass the values and convictions onto our children, even if we have to be firm with them. The relationship is a key component to any parent-child dynamic.